on silent.
Just putting it on silent.
if we know how
Yeah.
to.
We are live now, so I'll be starting. Um,
So should we start?
yes, I'll just start, sir. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the episode 23 of Brainfeed Ed Talks. And I welcome all the viewers for our very special panel discussion today on the topic Education in Crisis Corona Pandemic. So, today we have with us a delegation of esteemed educationists together with us who will be sharing their views. I would like to introduce the chair of the panel discussion, Dr. Amit Chandra, who is the Policy Fellow from Center for Civil Society. Our esteemed panelists include Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon. She is the Chair, Education, Economics and International Development, University College London. We have our panelist Dr. Kulbhushan Sharma, who is the President of NISA, National Independent School Alliance, and also the Chairman for National Coalition for School Education India. We have Ms. Meeta Sengupta, who is the founder of Center for Education Strategy, Delhi, and also member to India Advisory Board of STIR STIR Education. I also would like to invite our esteemed panelist, Mr. Madhusudan Sadula, Vice President of NISA and General Secretary of TRESMA, Telangana Recognized School Management Association. I welcome you all to this episode, and I also would like to share that we have participants joining us on Facebook as well as on Zoom. So we would request all the viewers to please share your questions and queries on the comments in Facebook or in the Q&A in Zoom or in chat. And all the panelists will be taking your questions after their discussion. I request Amit sir to kindly take over.
Thank you very much, Kanan. I hope I am audible to all.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Great. Thank you very much for this webinar. And I will not spend too much time setting up the context, talking about this pandemic that we are into. We already know. Let's directly come to the topic of the day, and the topic of the day is the education in crisis. The crisis is pandemic, and the impact, as we see on education and specifically school education, is schools had to close down. So most of the schools countrywide are closed down since the beginning of the March, and at the moment there is not enough clarity as to when we are going to resume the classes. At the same time, we are aware that this pandemic is a global pandemic, and the impact is so wide in terms of economic life, in terms of social life, in terms of political life, in terms of emotional life, that it is now pretty much agreed that life post corona going to be much different from the life pre-corona. Now, this specifically in the context that we are going to talk today is the impact on a specific segment of schools. We are not going to talk in general. In general, also we can bring some contextual discussion, but we try to keep it as focused on what we call budget private schools, the low cost private schools of India. As we understand, and there are people representing the low-cost private school segment. So schools are closed, learning, teaching has hampered. When the classes are going to resume, we don't know. But this has also introduced what I will call largely a management and operational and sustainability related challenges. for the school management. At the same time, challenges related to teaching, learning, uh, developing alternative system of delivery of education for the learning. And this will be the topic of the discussion. And for that, to better understand what are those challenges, वो सारी समस्याएं क्या है जो कि स्कूलों को सामना करना पड़ रहा है, उसके लिए सबसे पहले मैं चाहूंगा कि डॉक्टर कुलभूषण शर्मा जी से कि ब्रीफली आप बताएं कि मैनेजमेंट ऑपरेशन से रिलेटेड, रेगुलेशन से रिलेटेड लो कॉस्ट प्राइवेट स्कूल सेगमेंट में क्या क्या मुख्य समस्याएं आ रही हैं, और साथ ही उन समस्याओं को वी डू लुक इनटू द चैलेंज एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इट, बट ऑल क्राइसिस ब्रिंग्स अपॉर्चुनिटी आल्सो विद इट। तो उसके साथ उसको हम कैसे सॉल्व करने की तरफ भी सोच रहे हैं, उसके बारे में भी। सो कुलभूषण जी, अगर आप आप ब्रीफली एक्सप्लेन करें कि क्या समस्याएं आ रही हैं स्कूल को चलाने में।
नमस्कार अमित जी, आपने सही कहा कि क्या समस्याएं आ रही हैं, क्या चैलेंजेस है, कैसे इसको सॉल्व किया जा सकता है। तो डीसा का हमारा शुरू से मानना है कि क्राइसिस इन एजुकेशन की जब बात होती है तो हम शुरू से कहते हैं कि एजुकेशन शुरू से क्राइसिस में है। ये बहुत देर से हम बात कर रहे थे क्योंकि पॉलिसी इसकी जड़ है कि पॉलिसी की वजह से पहले ही एजुकेशन क्राइसिस में थी। लो बजट स्कूल्स की बहुत पहले ही प्रॉब्लम थी, बजट स्कूल्स की, उनके टीचर्स की बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम थी। अब कोरोना की वजह से ये बात बिल्कुल सामने आई है कि एजुकेशन पॉलिसी बिल्कुल रिव्यू होनी चाहिए, और जिसकी बात निशा कर रही है, बहुत सारे लोग कर रहे थे, नीति आयोग भी कर रहा था, उस पे एक रीथिंकिंग देने का वक्त आ गया है। अभी तक जो हमारी एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है, जिसको हम बार बार न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में भी हमने बहुत रिकमेंडेशन दी कि एजुकेशन पॉलिसी गवर्नमेंट फंडेड होनी चाहिए, ना कि गवर्नमेंट गाइडेड। तो गवर्नमेंट गाइडेड होने की वजह से आज जो कोरोना का एकदम संकट आया है, उससे एजुकेशन और क्राइसिस पैदा हो गए एजुकेशन के अंदर। क्योंकि आप देख रहे होंगे कि गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में आपको क्राइसिस नहीं दिख रहा कि उनके पेरेंट्स कुछ नहीं बोल रहे हैं, कि कोई हाय तौबा नहीं मचा रहे हैं, उनके टीचर्स की कोई परेशानी नहीं है क्योंकि उनको रेगुलर सैलरीज आ रही हैं। हर आदमी चाहता है कि उसको रेगुलर सैलरीज आए, बच्चे को अच्छी एजुकेशन मिले, तो वहां पर क्राइसिस नहीं है। बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल में क्यों क्राइसिस है कि वहां पर गरीब अभिभावक है, गरीब बच्चा है, वो बहुत मुश्किल से अपनी जो है फीस स्कूल को दे पा रहा है, लेकिन वो अपने चॉइस के स्कूल चाहता है। वो चाहता था कि मैं बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल में पढूं, अपनी चॉइस के कारण वो इस स्कूल में था। तो इस क्राइसिस की वजह से एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम ये खड़ी हो गई है कि जो गवर्नमेंट का एटीट्यूड्स भी रहा है, एटीट्यूड हमेशा ये रहा है कि प्रो गवर्नमेंट रहा है, बजट स्कूल्स के प्रो कभी नहीं रहा। और अभी भी जो जितने भी इस पे पॉलिसी की वजह से, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट ही अपने स्कूल चला रही है, गवर्नमेंट ही रूल्स बना रही है, और गवर्नमेंट ही डायरेक्शंस इशू कर रही है, कंट्रोल कर रही है, तो उससे इस तरह के ऑर्डर्स, निर्देश पारित हो रहे हैं जो बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के लिए एक सर्वाइवल पूरा उनका खतरे में पड़ गया है। जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि सक्षम अभिभावक फीस दे, और जो किसी पेरेंट्स पे दबाव नहीं बनाया जाएगा, ट्रांसपोर्ट के चार्जेस 3 महीने के नहीं लिए जाएंगे। इससे सभी बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स का एकदम सर्वाइवल खतरे में इसलिए पड़ गया है क्योंकि उसपे जो गरीब अभिभावक है, ज्यादातर किसानों के बच्चे भी उसपे पढ़ते हैं, जो फसल के हिसाब से पैसे देते हैं। जब फसल आती है तो अप्रैल में फसल आई, और कोरोना जो है मार्च में कोरोना की पोजीशन शुरू हुई, जिससे ये सारे स्कूलों के अंदर फरवरी मार्च की ही फीसें बहुत सारी ड्यू हैं, जिससे टीचर्स को सैलरी देने का एक संकट खड़ा हो गया। ये सारा पॉलिसी की वजह से हुआ है। अगर गवर्नमेंट फंडेड पॉलिसी होती, जैसे आपने कहा कि इसके क्या सोल्यूशन है, कि समय भी बहुत कम है, तो मैं साथ सीधा सोल्यूशन में जाऊंगा कि जो बात हम शुरू से कह रहे हैं, जिस प्रकार गवर्नमेंट स्कूल पे प्रति बच्चा खर्च हो रहा है, अगर प्राइवेट स्कूल के बच्चों पर भी गवर्नमेंट फंड कर रही होती, जैसे विदेशों में कर रही थी, करती है, तो इस समय कोई भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, ना अभिभावक को फीस देने की प्रॉब्लम होती, ना 2 करोड़ टीचर्स जो है आज जिनकी सैलरी का संकट खड़ा हो गया, वो संकट भी नहीं होता। और ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन भी जिस प्रकार से दूसरे स्कूलों में दी जा रही है, थोड़ा सा फर्क तो पड़ेगा एकदम चेंज से, लेकिन उतनी शिक्षा भी प्रभावित ना होती। तो ये एक बहुत बढ़िया इस समय सजेशन है कि गवर्नमेंट को अपनी पॉलिसी को दोबारा रिव्यू करना चाहिए, और डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर जो है वो इसमें शामिल करना चाहिए, पेरेंट्स को चॉइस देनी चाहिए, और डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर अगर होगा तो उससे टीचर्स भी सेफ रहेंगे, और ऐसी स्थिति में एजुकेशन में भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, और टीचर भी वेल पे जो है वो हो सकेंगे। जो बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल में आज अच्छी सैलरी टीचर्स को नहीं मिल पा रही, वो भी मिलेगी। तो इसको हमें एक अपॉर्चुनिटी की तरह भी देखना चाहिए। और जो चैलेंजेस हैं, अगर स्कूल्स के अंदर फीस नहीं आई तो 5 लाख से अधिक स्कूल जो है बिल्कुल क्लोज डाउन हो जाएंगे, और उनके 2 करोड़ टीचर्स को सैलरी किसी कीमत पे नहीं मिलेगी। एक बहुत बड़ा सेक्शन है, 2 करोड़ लोग, 10 करोड़ परिवार के सदस्य, और इनके साथ जो स्कूल्स के साथ और लोग जुड़े हुए वो भी 2 करोड़ परिवार है, यानी 20 करोड़ लोगों पर जो है इसका प्रभाव पड़ रहा है। अगर फीस नहीं आती तो गवर्नमेंट को आगे आकर इस समय 3-4 महीने के लिए पायलट डीबीटी करना चाहिए, जिससे टीचर्स की सैलरी भी सेफ हो, और जो एक एनवायरमेंट स्कूल के खिलाफ बन रहा है वो भी शांत हो, अराजकता ना फैले, और किसी भी बच्चे की शिक्षा प्रभावित ना हो। ये मेरा इस पे कहना है।
थैंक यू कुलभूषण जी। तो अगर मैं आपके बातों को समअप करूं, और जिस पे मैं गीता जी से भी उनकी राय लेना चाहूँगा, तो वो रहा कि मेनली आप कह रहे हैं कि जो हमारे बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स हैं, लो कॉस्ट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स, उसमें जो पेरेंट्स आते हैं वो मिडिल इनकम ग्रुप से या लो इनकम ग्रुप से होते हैं, जिनको कि जॉब लॉस या उनके सस्टेनेबिलिटी की, उनके इनकम का प्रॉब्लम हुआ है। दूसरा चीज आपने कहा कि उसको जितने भी प्रॉब्लम हुए उसको सोल्यूशन के लिए टाइम टाइम पे जो पॉलिसी सरकार की तरफ से गाइडलाइन आ रहा है, चाहे वो फी लेने के बारे में हो, चाहे उस इनकम ग्रुप के लोगों का सैलरी ना रुके, उनको रेंट ना पे करना पड़े, वगैरह वगैरह जो आ रहे हैं, वो कुछ शायद इम्प्रैक्टिकल हुए हैं या उसका इम्पैक्ट होता हुआ आप नहीं देख रहे हैं। और उसकी वजह से आपने कहा कि क्योंकि कैश फ्लो का परेशानी हो रही है तो टीचर्स की सैलरी वगैरह देने में प्रॉब्लम होगी।
1% बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल के अंदर 0 से 1% का कैश इनफ्लो हुआ है। उनके पास फीस नाम मात्र की नहीं आई है, 1%। अक्सर जो स्कूलों से बात की है तो स्कूल्स के पास एक भी फीस नहीं आई है, जहाँ मैक्सिमम 1%। तो उससे वो कैसे टीचर्स की सैलरीज देंगे, कैसे बिजली का बिल देंगे, कैसे दूसरे खर्चे उठाएंगे, ये एक बहुत बड़ा प्रश्न खड़ा हो गया बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के बाद।
सही बात है। और अभी ये तो अभी है जबकि स्कूल बंद है। अभी मैं अज्यूम कर रहा हूँ कि जब चीजें नॉर्मल होने लगेंगी और स्कूल्स खुलेंगे तो भी गाइडलाइंस आएंगे इन टर्म्स ऑफ सेफ्टी, हाइजीन, सिक्योरिटी, मे बी द सैनिटाइजर टनल दैट यू हैव टू पुट इन, और स्कूल में क्लासरूम में जो अभी तक जितने बच्चे बैठते थे शायद उससे कम बच्चे बिठाना पड़े। तो ऐसे कई
स्कूल को
समस्याएं आ
सैनिटाइज
सकती
भी
हैं।
करना पड़े, पूरे स्कूल को सैनिटाइज भी करना पड़े, डिजिटल भी करना पड़े, बहुत सारे और चैलेंजेस भी आने वाले हैं, जिसके बहुत सारे एक्सपेंसेस आने, जो लोग सोच रहे हैं कि आगे स्कूल जो है सिर्फ फीस, बहुत सारे खर्चे बढ़ने वाले हैं। जो कह रहे हैं कि फी हाइक नहीं होनी चाहिए, या तो फीस ही नहीं आ रही, तो जो नॉर्मल फी हाइक थी शायद उससे ज्यादा खर्चों का सामना बजट स्कूल्स को करना पड़े आने वाले समय में।
राइट। और इसको अगर मैं बड़े सिंपल तरीके से अगर समझने की कोशिश करूं, तो मुझे ये लगता है कि अगर जैसे हमने बजट प्लान किया था, हमने हमारी प्लानिंग थी, अचानक से मेरा कॉस्ट ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है और उसकी भरपाई नहीं हो पाती है, तो दो ही चीजें होंगी, या तो मुझे अपना फीस या इनकम रेवेन्यू बढ़ाना होगा, या तो मैं बंद कर दूं वो इस
या
स्कूल।
गवर्नमेंट को मदद करनी पड़ेगी।
हाँ, तो और गवर्नमेंट हर सेक्टर में कर रही है, तो शायद इस सेक्टर के लिए भी, अपने लो कॉस्ट प्राइवेट स्कूलों के लिए भी करें। सो and this is where I would come to Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon. Geeta ji, you had experience also specifically in terms of Right to Education Act, which also had certain policy recommendations, and we realized that the long-term impact happened to be the rise in fee too, because the Center for Civil Society also had done a study talking about if all the recommendations have to be complied, the cost will go at least 4 times up. So either the fee will go up, or schools will realize that the parents cannot afford this, and therefore becomes unsustainable model, and schools had to close down, and schools had closed down in many places. Now, how do you see the impact of this coronavirus in school education segment, specifically looking at what challenges Kulbhushan ji has talked about and the solution kind of package that he is also demanding?
Gosh, these are troubled times, big way. I think that overall, the kind of position that private schools are in at the moment, it seems that they are the modern day Shylocks. They're seen with very little sympathy today. Uh, गवर्नमेंट सर्कल्स में प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के प्रति सिंपथी ज़रा भी नहीं है, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स प्राइवेट स्कूल्स की एग्जिस्टेंस से गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स काफ़ी, मतलब गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम फील्स एम्बैरेस्ड, उनको शर्मिंदगी होती है प्राइवेट स्कूल्स की एग्जिस्टेंस से, क्योंकि ये दिखता है कि प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के टीचर्स जो हैं वो स्कूल में आते हैं, पढ़ाते हैं, टीचर एब्सेंस रेट जो है उनके कम है, बहुत कम है कंपेयर टू दैट इन द गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर. नॉट सरप्राइजिंगली देयरफॉर बच्चों के रिजल्ट्स भी बेटर हैं, लर्निंग आउटकम्स बेटर हैं. फिर वो बहुत लो सैलरी पे जो है टीचर्स से ये काम करवा लेते हैं, और उसकी वजह से बच्चे जो है वो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल से छोड़ करके बहुत भारी तादाद में वो प्राइवेट स्कूल्स की तरफ गए हैं. तो वो भी एक सोर्स ऑफ एम्बैरसमेंट, एक शर्मिंदगी गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम में है प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के पनपने की वजह से. और हम देखते हैं, अगर हम आंकड़े देखें, गवर्नमेंट के खुद के आंकड़े देखें, डाइस डेटा देखें, कि करीब 2.4 करोड़ चिल्ड्रन हैव शिफ्टेड फ्रॉम दी government schools between 2010-11 and 2017-18. 7 साल के अंतराल में 2.4 crore children have left the government schooling sector by the government's own statistics and joined the private schooling sector. तो बहुत बड़ी शर्मिंदगी है. It's an embarrassment that India has such a big private schooling sector and that it is growing. Therefore, government walas are not sympathetic. They feel that the private schools are there to make profits. Despite the fact that by law, private schools cannot make any profit. Every single private school that is recognized is a registered society or a trust or a Section 8 company, a not-for-profit company. So despite those legal checks and balances in the system, the feeling is that although the private schools show themselves to be not-for-profit, de facto they are for-profit. That said, there is very little sympathy. Courts are not very sympathetic. अभी जैसे अमित ने बोला, अमित चंद्रा जी ने बोला रिगार्डिंग की जो राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट में जो रीइंबर्समेंट देना है, और जो 75% बच्चों पे जो बाकी 25% बच्चों को का भार पड़ रहा है, उनको फीस बढ़ानी पड़ी, और लेकिन उस फीस को बढ़ा हुआ देख करके भी उनको वो बढ़ाने, the fact that they should not increase that was sought to be imposed on private schools. Now the coming of the AAP government in Delhi, because AAP is very unassailable, it is immovable, it has the support of the public. Whatever the AAP government is doing, every single state government in the rest of India seems to want to do that in order to gain popularity. And the AAP government made it its life's business to take up private schools, and प्राइवेट स्कूल्स का उसमें कोई बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा शायद फॉल्ट नहीं था, हो सकता है कुछ प्रॉफिटेरिंग कर रहे थे, लेकिन बाय एंड लार्ज वहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम ये है कि बहुत बड़ी सप्लाई की कमी है, स्कूल्स बहुत कम हैं, और जो बच्चे हैं, बच्चों की तादाद बहुत ज़्यादा है, क्योंकि वहाँ पर इन माइग्रेशन भी होता है दिल्ली में सारे स्टेट से. तो देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम कि यू आर नॉट अलाउइंग द प्राइस टू बी बिड अप बाय saying that the fee will be capped at such and such. So these are some of the problems, these are some of the contours of the problem. Now be that as it may, क्वेश्चन है कि आज की सिचुएशन में जब कोविड से एक्सपोज हैं, तो इसका असर प्राइवेट, पर्टिकुलरली बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स पे क्या पड़ रहा है.
Kanan, I can't get audio from Professor.
All facing the same. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are back now.
Yeah. Whichever kind of private unaided school it is, whether it's a budget private school or a not budget private school, all private schools are facing very similar challenges. That governments have issued GOs, government orders, saying कि आप पेरेंट्स जो सक्षम है फीस पे करने में वो पे करेंगे, और स्कूल जो है किसी के ऊपर दबाव नहीं बनाएगा. इसकी आड़ लेकर taking advantage of this kind of a statement by the government in the government orders, most of the parents are saying that they are not able to pay at the moment. Even those who are in salary jobs, who've been getting full salaries, are saying that we're not able to pay at the moment. And because the government has given a GO, any phone call by any school to its parent is being reported as undue pressure from the school on me. So in this situation, there are many issues that have come up. Two issues I'd like to pick up with the example of Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh government just issued a government order yesterday that no private school shall increase its fee this year. The fee shall be frozen to what it was last year. Ab, uh, in the time of COVID, maybe this is not such a bad thing, especially when we compare it कि जैसे आसाम स्टेट का अगर देखते हैं तो वहाँ तो उन्होंने कह दिया कि जो आप फीस लेते हैं उसका आप सिर्फ 50% ले सकते हैं. तो उसके कंपैरिजन में उत्तर प्रदेश का लगता है जियो बेहतर है. लेकिन यहाँ पर भी बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. जैसे इस जियो में भी बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन्होंने कहा कि आप इस साल कोई फीस नहीं बढ़ाएंगे. ठीक है, अगर कोई इस साल फीस नहीं बढ़ती है, लेकिन जो उत्तर प्रदेश का फी रेगुलेशन एक्ट है उसके अनुसार नेक्स्ट ईयर यहाँ पर जो है वो whatever your salary increase in a given year, you can raise your fee only by that much the next year. So if the fee is not increased, it's increased by 0% this year, salaries shall increase by 0%. Therefore, next year, fee will not be allowed to increase more than 0%. So that is a real bind. And जियो में उन्होंने इस बात को क्लैरिफाई नहीं किया कि नेक्स्ट ईयर की फी लेवल फिक्सेशन पर जो एक्ट के तहत जो पॉसिबल होगा वो 0% ही होगा, एंड दैट हाउ दे विल डील विद दैट. That, and then it has implications for every year. Secondly, उन्होंने कहा एक जियो निकला सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का कि कोई भी प्राइवेट सेक्टर एस्टैब्लिशमेंट जैसे कि मीडियम स्मॉल एंड माइक्रो एंटरप्राइजेस MSMEs as they are called, no private sector organization establishment can do this, that they don't pay their staff the full salaries. So if we are constrained to not increase the fees, if budget private schools are constrained not to increase their fee, then how can they increase teacher salaries, and how can they continue to pay the same salaries as what they have been paying? So these are some of the problems that arise. मैं एक चीज आपको बता दूं, थोड़े से आंकड़े मैं बता दूं, आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहूंगी. हमने इस सेमिनार के पहले 10 मिनट पहले मैंने डाइस डेटा को दोबारा देखा कि कितने प्राइवेट अनएडेड स्कूल्स हैं देश में. तो डाइस डेटा जो लेटेस्ट वाला अवेलेबल है, जो पब्लिक डोमेन में है, वो 15-16 का है. तो उसमें है कि प्राइवेट अनएडेड रिकग्नाइज प्राइवेट अनएडेड स्कूल्स देश में 3,35,000 हैं. इन 3,35,000 में अकॉर्डिंग टू डाइस डेटा 24,87,000 टीचर्स हैं, नियरली 25 लाख टीचर्स हैं. तो 25 लाख टीचर्स की अगर हम मानते हैं कि सिर्फ, दिस इज ओनली टीचिंग स्टाफ, नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ की तो बात भी नहीं हो रही है, सिर्फ टीचिंग स्टाफ की अगर हम सैलरी लेते हैं 15,000 रुपए पर महीना पर टीचर, सिर्फ दैट मच, it comes to 3,732 crore rupees per month of teacher salaries. अगर 1 या 2% पेरेंट्स फी पे कर रहे हैं तो टीचर्स की सैलरी भरपाई करना प्राइवेट स्कूल मैनेजर्स के लिए पॉसिबल नहीं होगा. So, and the vast bulk of these private unaided schools, barring about 20,000 private unaided schools in the country as a whole, which may be regarded as, non-budget schools, non-budget private schools, out of these 3,35,000, only about 20,000 are non-budget private schools. About 3,15,000 schools are budget private schools. And that being the case, ये जो 3,732 करोड़ रुपए पर महीना टीचर सैलरी है इन स्कूल्स की, जो 3 महीने में, इस क्वार्टर में, अप्रैल मई जून के क्वार्टर में वो आएगी 11,200 करोड़ रुपए. तो गवर्नमेंट इसके लिए या तो एक पैकेज दे दे, नहीं तो अपने रूल्स को उसको रिलैक्स करना ही उचित रहेगा. ये रिप्रेजेंटेशन बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स को मैंने सुना है कि वो कह रहे हैं कि वी नीड टू अप्रोच द गवर्नमेंट, टू रिक्वेस्ट द गवर्नमेंट टू हेल्प द बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स टू पे देयर टीचर सैलरी.
Perfect. Great. Thank you, Geeta ji. You kind of brought a lot of clarity and light on the issue. लेकिन ये जो कुलभूषण जी ने बोला और जो आपने बोला, तो कुछ चीजें मुझे it kind of pushes me to think, if the target is that low and middle income group whose earning might have been hampered due to the pandemic, तो जहाँ पे सरकार के निर्देश आए कि उनकी सैलरी कोई भी अगर MSME में कर रहे हैं, बड़े कंपनीज में कर रहे हैं, एक्सेप्ट फार्मिंग, एग्रीकल्चर को छोड़े, तो अगर कहीं भी थोड़ा ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर में है तो उनको सैलरी तो आपको रोकनी नहीं है. और फिर अभी हम अज्यूम कर रहे हैं कि उनका देयर इज अ लॉस ऑफ जॉब, लॉस ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, लॉस ऑफ इनकम, और इसलिए उनको अफोर्डेबिलिटी में परेशानी हो रही है. देन आ जाता है विच इज अ कंप्लीटली बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन सेगमेंट, जिसके लिए कि हम राशन और सब कुछ फ्री दे ही रहे हैं. सो एक छोटा सा मेरे दिमाग में ऐसा डाउट होता है, आई होप दैट आई एम कंप्लीटली रॉन्ग हियर, इज कि कहीं इसमें विरोधाभास नहीं नजर आ रहा है कि हम या तो हमारे उन गवर्नमेंट निर्देशों का पालन नहीं हो पा रहा है इसलिए अफोर्डेबिलिटी की प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, इसलिए हम कह रहे हैं कि अच्छा आप so when government has ensured that your income would not stop, then why are we kind of asking that you have to restrict your expenditure? Geeta ji, can you give me some clarity on this? Just a
आप
thought.
जो कह रहे हैं वो जो मैं समझी हूँ उसका बिल्कुल उल्टा है. इनकम इज नॉट बीइंग इंश्योर्ड. इनकम, अगर आप स्कूल्स के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बात कर रहे हैं,
नहीं, हम जनरल पेरेंट्स के पर्सपेक्टिव से बात कर रहे हैं.
हाँ, तो पेरेंट के पर्सपेक्टिव से ये है कि यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट कि कुछ पेरेंट्स, वाकई में काफ़ी पेरेंट्स ऐसे हैं जो अफेक्टेड हैं, जिनकी इनकम्स अफेक्ट हुई हैं, जिनकी इनकम्स रुक गई हैं, जैसे स्मॉल ट्रेडर्स और इवन बिगर कंपनीज, जो लोग जिनके प्रोडक्शन रुक गए हैं, जिनकी दुकानें बंद हो गई हैं, उनको वाकई में प्रॉब्लम है देने में, फीस देने में उनको प्रॉब्लम हो गई क्योंकि इनकम्स उनकी घट गई हैं. लेकिन जो लोग सैलरीड एम्प्लॉयमेंट में है, पर्टिकुलरली गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयमेंट में हैं, जिनकी सैलरीज पूरी मिली हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल मार्च के महीने के लिए पूरी मिली हैं, अप्रैल में भी पूरी मिलेंगी, ऐसे लोग भी जो कह रहे हैं कि हम इस समय फीस देने में सक्षम नहीं हैं, उनकी मैं बात कर रही थी. तो यहाँ पर कोई विरोधाभास नहीं है. ज़रूर ऐसा है कि कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं, लेकिन जो लोग ऐसे हैं वो, उनको कोई स्कूल, बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स भी उनको कंसेशन देने में पीछे नहीं हटना चाहेंगे. दैट इज़ व्हाट आई होप दैट दे वुड डू. तो एडजस्टमेंट दोनों तरफ से करना होगा. दैट इज़ माय फील.
ग्रेट, थैंक यू वेरी मच.
अमित जी, मैं इसमें कहना चाहूंगा
हाँ
कि ये देश कृषि प्रधान देश है, एग्रीकल्चरल कंट्री है.
हाँ.
किसानों को कोरोना से कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ. इट मींस एक बहुत बड़ा मेजर सेक्शन है जिसका नुकसान नहीं हुआ. गवर्नमेंट को सैलरीज मिल रही हैं और 60% जो बच्चे हैं वो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में पढ़ रहे हैं, जो लोग पुअर हैं. यानी प्राइवेट स्कूल में जो पढ़ रहा था वो कहीं ना कहीं सक्षम था. सिर्फ मैं एक बात ये कहना चाहूंगा कि 10 से 20% लोग उसमें भी हो सकते हैं जो अपनी बड़ी हार्ड मनी से, कि वो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल नहीं जाना चाहते थे, वो प्राइवेट स्कूल आ गए. लेकिन ये कहना कि बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल का सारा ही पेरेंट असक्षम हो गया है, इससे हम सहमत नहीं हैं, क्योंकि 60% बच्चे तो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में पढ़ रहे हैं जो बिल्कुल पे नहीं कर सकते थे. और किसानों का भी ऐसा कोई लॉस नहीं हुआ है. ग्रोसरी की दुकानें चल रही हैं, सब्जी की दुकानें चल रही हैं, केमिस्ट का काम चल रहा है, गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉइज का काम चल रहा है, और भी बहुत सारे कंपनीज है जो अपने एम्प्लॉइज को सैलरीज दे रही है. सिर्फ जब जियोस आए हैं, ये थोड़ा नकारात्मक जियोस आए हैं, जिसका फायदा जो है पेरेंट्स ले रहे हैं, और उसपे वो सक्षम जो बात लिख दी गई है उसका फायदा उठाकर सभी असक्षम हो गए. जबकि इस बीमारी से, इस संकट से सबको मिलकर निकलना है, और अगर मिलकर सहयोग करेंगे तो 2 करोड़ परिवारों को भी मदद मिलेगी, जिससे कंट्री का भी फायदा होगा. उससे कंट्री पे और बोझ नहीं पड़ेगा. अदरवाइज इन 2 करोड़ परिवारों को भी प्रधानमंत्री और सरकार या मुख्यमंत्री को ही मदद करनी पड़ेगी.
राइट, थैंक यू कुलभूषण जी. चलिए हम डिस्कशन को आगे ले जाते हैं, लेकिन मैं थोड़ा ब्रीफली समराइज कर दूं जो गीता जी ने कहा. नंबर 1 उनका पॉइंट था कि देयर इज नो sympathy from the government side for low cost private schools for many reasons, and one important reason is that possibly they see low cost private schools as their competitor, maybe. And then we have a little bit of RT experience जो उन्होंने reimbursement वगैरह का बताया कि जिसकी वजह से cost ज़्यादा बढ़े और स्कूल क्लोजर का भी हुआ. एक चीज़ जो इम्पैक्ट उन्होंने बताया कि कर रहा है, समथिंग कमिंग फ्रॉम दिल्ली, the आम आदमी पार्टी अप्रोच, the populist approach towards education, तो शायद उसकी वजह से भी there is a pressure on other political leaders and other state governments also कि जैसा वो कर रहे हैं वैसा हमें करना होगा. और जो अभी आप लोगों ने बताया, तो उससे शायद लग रहा है कि चलिए हाँ, पेरेंट्स भी हमारे जितने हैं, तो हो सकता है लेट्स से 50%, 10%, व्हाटएवर द परसेंटेज इज, लेकिन कुछ लोग हैं जो सक्षम हैं, उन्हें शायद खुल के आना चाहिए सपोर्ट करने के लिए, और जो असक्षम नहीं है उनके लिए कोई एक सोल्यूशन को वर्कआउट किया जा सकता है. जैसे आप गीता जी ने एग्जांपल दिया यूपी गवर्नमेंट का भी, असम गवर्नमेंट का भी. सो जैसे यूपी गवर्नमेंट ने बोला है कि फीस इंक्रीज नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन उसके साथ ही उन्हें ये भी ध्यान देना होगा कि जैसे टीचर्स की सैलरी इंक्रीज करनी है साल में, तो वो फिर कैसे करेंगे, और या कि उसको भी नहीं करना है. और एक रफ एस्टिमेट उन्होंने दिया कि लगभग 25 लाख टीचर्स हैं, और उनका ऑन एन एवरेज हम 15,000 भी सैलरी लेते हैं, तो रफली 3,700 करोड़ के केवल टीचिंग स्टाफ्स के लिए होगा. फिर नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ एंड देन मैनेजमेंट, और उसमें जो कुलभूषण जी ने बोला कि प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स, बिजली का, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, एवरीथिंग, बहुत सारे और भी कॉस्ट आ जाते हैं। तो रफली मिनिमम यहाँ पे ये तो दिखता है कि 4,000-5,000 करोड़ का इस सेक्टर को कुछ रिलीफ पैकेज की जरूरत होगी। एनीवेज, नाउ लेट्स मूव out from the regulation and the operation and the school management related all of these issues to something which is what is how schools are, and specifically our budget private schools are trying to address the learning gap. स्कूल बंद हो जाने से जो पठन पाठन, टीचिंग लर्निंग बंद है, उसके लिए हम ऑल्टरनेटिवली क्या कर रहे हैं और आगे, और उसमें क्या चैलेंजेस आते हैं, और उसको और अच्छे इफेक्टिव ढंग से करने के लिए क्या करने की जरूरत है। और इस पे हम लेंगे मधुसूदन जी के आपसे पर्सपेक्टिव सर।
So thank you, Amit ji. So now, the rightly in India or across the country, education is in crisis. Students in the schools are not able to access education for the last 1.5 months and so. And in future, we do not know when the schools are going to reopen for education. Maybe we may have the lockdown lifted up, but in spite of having lockdown lifted up, or schools opening is a question mark. So there is a dynamic change in the teaching. Most of the elite schools have already started giving online classes, but the challenge comes with the low income sector people. Say 50% of the students in India are in private schools, and among these private schools, 90% of the private schools are budget private schools. So now less than 10% of the schools are able to offer classes online, and then their children are able to access them, and the parents are educated, they have the gadgets, and then they are supporting their children. And only 10% of the total number of private schools in India are able to access education right now. What about the 90% of the students who are in the low income group, that is the budget private schools? So what is the process that these children will be able to access education? And then now I wonder, no one is really concerned about this segment of the students. Whenever there is a debate happening, the debate happens about only those 10% of elite schools, and those policies, whatever are being adapted in those 10% of the schools, are being discussed in the different platforms. And really the vulnerable sections of the society, where the budget private schools are there, students who are going to these schools are totally ignored, and then they are also branded that they are also making a lot of money. So here the biggest challenge is these schools do not have the technology, sufficient technology to adapt. The teachers are not capable of adapting this technology to teach the students. And students, particularly in the suburban areas, particularly in the villages, cannot access the internet. They do not have the gadgets. And there should be an alternative plan to the government how to offer education to all these students. Otherwise, if schools shut down for 3 more months or 4 more months, the time that is lapsed will be very costly. The whole generation will lose the education. So the whole country will have to face a great loss if we are not able to make proper alternative plans. So there is an urgent need that every state government and the central government have to bring up a new academic planner, how to teach children through the available technology. they must design a total program. They must offer trainings to the teachers online with the help of, because we have so many television channels. We have hundreds of television channels now. So why can't we have some dedicated educational channels, particularly for the school education, and let there be a proper scheduling for training of the teachers, and let there be proper scheduling for the students of different grades. We have from pre-primary to high school. Let there be some channel, which will be offering continuous classes on pre-primary classes itself. Let there be some channels which will be offering primary classes education, and let there be some dedicated channels will be offering high school, that is from the middle school and the high school. And there can be a proper academic planner, because I have got some statistics with me that many budget private schools are even attempting and trying to offer online classes in Zoom, Teams, and various other Google classes, Classroom, etc. But the result is that only 50% of the students are able to just connect it. And we do not know how many students are really able to actively participate in learning. So here there is a huge gap. So we need to have a concrete policy for this academic year 2021, that how we are going to deliver the lessons and the classes. Definitely there will be a pedagogy gap, but we need to address it. We need to think louder. We have to come up with a concrete policy. Otherwise, we will be doing a great loss to the present students generation, which cannot be filled with any amount of money in future. So this is a very important sector. We cannot neglect our students. We cannot ignore. We should be very proactive and then take what do you call appropriate measures. That's very important.
Okay, great. Madhu ji, thank you very much. In a very short time, you kind of summarized most of these teaching challenges. So number one, what you talked about is online classes have come up as one of the alternatives, but at the same time, we need to think beyond online too. What could be other different ways of imparting education when, specifically as you highlight, when the technology is not available for most of the people in your segment, in the segment of low-cost private schools. Not that schools are equipped with technology, nor there is ecosystem, nor the parents have at times the technology, the gadgets, internet connection, and even the places to sit down and all. Apart from that, something as a challenge comes up of the human behavior, that now parents also will have to invest a lot of time in, like as a guardian, to sit with the kid and creating that ecosystem inside the house. And then you said there is already negative image of the private schools altogether and low cost private schools in particular. और आपने बताया कि there is already kind of loss of time and money and all of that learning to mainly learning deficit. And if that is not addressed, that will create a huge challenge, and therefore possibly a new academic plan has to be designed for the current year. So these are a couple of ideas. Now let me go to Meeta ji, who has been sitting quietly and observing and listening to all of that. So Meeta ji, now it's, please you enlighten us with almost everything that you are free to comment on other things also, but specifically your attention to what Madhusudan ji has talked about. How are we going to address this learning deficit?
Thank you very much, Madhusudan ji, for raising this really, really important, very critical issue about the learning deficit. And especially for highlighting that only the conversation, because the action is in online learning, the conversation has been about online learning. And even in online learning, where our budget private school partners, our colleagues and school owners have tried online learning, we have come across some problems in that area also. So we should talk about that too. But before I start, I want to sort of differentiate between remote learning and online learning. Because remote learning, or in the old days, we used to call it distance learning, which was a whole different pedagogy. I'm using remote learning as an umbrella term, is very different from online learning. Online learning is just one way of doing remote learning. So, for example, the Delhi, some parts of Delhi, people who were distributing rations started putting worksheets in the charity packets of rations that were being given out to the poor. Now that is remote learning that is happening. It is not organized, it is not structured, it is not necessarily taught, led, and we are not sure what the impact is going to be. UP state, they have already said that All India Radio Uttar Pradesh is going to telecast lessons. Jammu and Kashmir, in fact, also announced just yesterday that they are going to start tele classes on radio and television. Television itself is a very strong medium, but even there we are assuming that people have televisions in their houses. Not everybody has access to television, not everybody has access to radio, electricity also. So those are assumptions we will have to make one by one. So we'll maybe have to, in our thinking, we have to construct a ladder. If you have television in your house, then here are 4 or 5 ways of handling it. There is the old distance learning way of handling it. We can start new lessons. We have amazing resources like Gully Gully Sim Sim, which came from Sesame Street, which was a fantastic literacy tool and ran for years and years. We have lots of other teaching and learning programs. We have the idea, and almost proven idea in research, Geeta ji, you'll have to confirm that, of same language subtitling, for example. Same language subtitling is a very strong literacy tool, where if you have a program running on TV, whether it is Chitrahar with songs, whether it is a silly program, whatever it is, if the same word is written in the same language, children learn to read and write. And in all of these years, we have been talking about foundational learning being critical. Our reading skills and our arithmetic skills are critical to learning. The rest, the catching up, will also need to happen. But at least with these basic things in place, we should be able to cover some part of the gap. Is there a problem with this? Yes, there is. Because all of this is something that we will, like in lecture mode, we will be giving out to the students. How do we know whether it's working? What do we know about the outcomes? What do we know about the impact? Do we know whether students have actually taken that little remote learning quiz or worksheet that has been distributed in Delhi, and what have they done with it? Did they make an aeroplane with it and throw it in the, or did they actually gather around it? Gathering is not allowed. So how do you create that connect? In fact, our biggest challenge right now, especially with our budget private school students, is that our students are very, very used to working in close proximity. We live in dense societies. We come to school together. We work together as a group. And if we don't work as a group, then sometimes we just don't know what to do. Our natural instinct is, chal saath aake padhe. चल साथ आके मार्केट जाएं, let's किसी को साथ लेके चलते हैं. We do things with a partner, with peer learning. Peer learning, in fact, across the globe has been proven to be one of the strongest pedagogies. But now with physical distancing, we find that peer learning is not an option that is available to us. So how do we create that connect in our learning? Becomes our third set of problems. How do we create that social emotional connect in our learning that we design for our students? You used a very interesting term, Madhusudanji, you called it the pedagogy gap. And this is where the pedagogy gap is showing up. Those of us who've been able to do online learning have found one type of pedagogy gap, that you cannot do the same thing online as you have been doing in the classroom. If right now one of us was running a 1-hour lecture on what is wrong and how we can fix teaching and learning, I don't think we would have been able to engage so much, generate so many ideas, generate solutions have this wonderful chat window that we are listening in and responding to as we speak. We are keeping it alive. We are building connections with previous ideas, new people. There's so much action actually happening over here. That action is not possible in the traditional lecture mode. If one teacher comes in on the screen and says, okay, I will now take a roll call, that is not going to work. Or the teacher says, if you do not study now properly, then your exams will suffer. We are all very anxious right now. We are worried, literally worried for our lives. Our exams are not the most important things on our minds, even if we want to. The best of our students, the best of our teachers are finding it difficult to concentrate on anything that we want to do. The simplest things are difficult for us. So our new pedagogy that must evolve beyond online learning to remote learning, to building inclusive learning, which means let's find different ways of reaching the students. Let's find different ways of reaching the teachers. And I want to talk a minute about the teachers separately. And let us find a way of completing the communication loop. So it's not only just giving out a chapter, but also coming back to it. Now the teacher part of it, given your data, you said many teachers have actually tried to do online lessons. One thing that we saw in classrooms all through is sometimes we fall into the trap of bad habits. You know, sometimes teachers say that we are teaching to one class at a time. And unfortunately or fortunately, very few of us recognize or act upon the fact that students do not learn as a class. Students learn individually. So I'm very happy that online learning has happened. Because in these 2 or 3 weeks where the schools that had the money, even the richest of rich schools, they tried to replicate the classroom and it did not work because they were trying for what they call synchronous learning. One teacher is trying to lecture. But learning is not synchronous. Learning is asynchronous. Different students are learning at different pace. Somebody's attention wanders off, something's happening in the background. Even the rich schools are facing the same problem. So in that sense, we find ourselves in the same space. Whether we are rich or poor, it doesn't matter. We have to find a better, richer pedagogy for this digital age. And we have been talking about digital pedagogies for a while. But we sort of suffered and I will bring in funding into this because money sometimes just rules. We can't avoid that. Almost all the education technology products that are out in the market have been that have been funded in the private sector, have funded examination tools, have been built by technology people. Very few teachers have felt the pain of digital pedagogy like we have felt it in the past 2 or 3 weeks and have cried out in pain, saying, give us a proper solution that works. Finally, we as teachers, we are saying, this is not working. Give us a solution for remote learning that works. You keep talking about your Silicon Valley, you keep talking about your grand advancements in technology, then show us how it works in our classroom and for every student. And I think at this point, I'm very happy to see the challenge thrown back to the technology people, saying, find us something that works. Find us something that reaches the remotest of corners. My student right now, I'm mentoring a college student amongst many, many projects. I'm finding it difficult to speak to her because she went back to her village and she says, I'm not allowed to go to the edge of the village where on top of the hill, I used to get a signal. I can't talk to them. I can't run my mentoring sessions. I was introduced as part of STIR as well, which has been a little while. If you remember Kulbhushanji Madhusudanji, the first time STIR went and started working in the budget private sector, we were hunting for micro innovations. A long time ago, the first project was hunting for micro innovations. And I think, coming to solutions, I think the solution now will have to come from us, just as the cry of pain has come from us. The pain point is a very important part in innovation. And it will have to come from our teachers. And our teachers in the budget private sector, if I remember those projects really well, 2-3 years of work we did on this before the RTE problem hit us. Fantastic micro innovations that came out of the budget private sector. Because our teachers are there in the class every day. And our teachers have to face sometimes first generation learners sometimes learners with low attention spans. The range of students in our classes is so much more difficult. We don't have selective schools. Everybody comes to our schools. So our teachers have always had to innovate in their teaching and learning. And this is one time when our teacher innovations will have to come to the fore. Some of us have created, what have our teachers done now in this crisis? I've heard of 1 or 2 TikTok videos, 30 seconds, easy to communicate. I've heard of YouTube channels. And finally, when it comes to teacher support, they can't do it alone. Teachers need support for that. There are free webinars that are going out for teachers. We just have to, I should have done better in communicating with NISA specifically and with other organizations. There are lots and lots of free webinars from organizations that I am advising that teach them what to do on Zoom, what to do with Teams. Microsoft itself is running its own training sessions, of course, different companies, how to actually come online. So if anybody needs help, I will put out that calendar of free webinars where you can just sign up just the way you have signed up for this webinar, where experienced teachers are sharing what they know about the technology part of it. But just the technology part, I will repeat what you said, Madhusudanji, again, is only that 10%. The real innovation, the real pedagogy gap can only be filled by our teachers who are true to their cause of teaching and will want to reach the student and will want to hear that student's voice back.
Great. Great. Yes, Geeta ji, you have something to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, it seems to me, I was very impressed by some of the work that is going on by teachers around the city where I am, in Lucknow. And I heard some of them talk about how the purpose of online education is to exhibit care. And, there was a webinar done by Vishnu. I think his name is Vishnu Karthik.
Yeah, Vishnu
By
Karthik.
Heritage School. And in that, he was advancing, he shared that there are some studies that show that learning is set back by 1 month every time there's a summer holiday, long summer holiday. Learning is set back by 1 month. So during this lockdown period, particularly because we do not know how long it will last, it is important that wherever possible, that teachers do, try and do online learning so that learning continues. It's part of exhibiting care. But exhibiting care also means, I'm totally agreeing with what Meeta has been saying. Exhibiting care, socio-emotional connect is extremely important. For children to feel well, they need a routine, they need a structure to their day. So if there is some degree of online education and continuation of their learning, they have more structure in their day, they have more routine, the familiar routine that they would normally have, there would be some semblance of routine. So for that purpose, it's also very good. Secondly, the fact that, they are seeing their peers, their class, fellow students of their class, on the online platform. They're seeing their faces, they can say hi, and they can have a morning assembly. All of those things are, helping to maintain that social connect, that socio-emotional connect. So that's an extremely important thing, even though, it could be that during this time, one cannot be very ambitious about covering all the curriculum and, in all the subjects. But if one can do the core subjects, language and maths, and do that well, and at the same time keep children who are naturally under tension and stress, because they can see on television what's happening, they can see the news and so on, and everybody is very, very tense at this time. So I think that one of the things that teachers can do at this time is to ring up children, ring up parents to say, how are you? What, how is there any problem? Is there any way in which I can help? It may be that one cannot do very much to help, but just the fact that somebody familiar called, it's the exhibiting of care that matters. I have to say that, I'm aware of so many teachers who did not know technology, but as you said, Meeta, they have just innovated and they have very quickly learned a whole range of technologies, how to do video conferencing on Zoom, how to do, Google Hangout, even how to set up a Google Classroom, you know. So all of those things are something I know of a teacher who, because she's deprived of her usual, green board, whiteboard, interactive whiteboard, she's using the back of her door, which is painted white, as a whiteboard, So they're finding ways of continuing the education of their children, which is very wonderful. And I think that I just want to say on Mr. Madhusudan's very important point, that how are we going to make sure that children in the budget private schools can also have this? And I think here this is an extremely important point, and I feel that here government help is needed, and also help by benefactors and big ed tech companies and other technology companies like Google, Microsoft, etc., as part of the CSR initiative. What could be a better CSR initiative than to ensure that children have devices through which they can engage in online learning, number one. But on the part of the government and on the part of the big companies like Jio and others, the internet providing companies, that they come forward and they provide very cheap access to internet. At this time, these are extremely important things to do.
I have three things to highlight here. During this pandemic, we are very clear that schools will not function in a normal way even after reopening of the schools, because there may be many regulations of compliance of COVID-19. There must be proper sanitization, there must be proper social distancing, and then there must be proper masks, and then children should be ensured proper safety even after reopening of the schools. Even parents will not be free to send their children to the schools, comfortable to send their children to the schools, because some known person in the locality, or maybe any one of the parents or any one of the known people might have infected, and then he might have gone for the quarantine and he has come up, but still they have some doubts, and then they have some queries. So the solution is, continuously there should be a online classes, online teaching, remote teaching, what Meeta ji has said, and then that is inevitable. So government must have a very comprehensive plan how to organize these online classes or distance classes to holistically to all the students. We cannot ignore any one sector of students. So there are a couple of challenges that are to be immediately addressed. Government must ensure that proper internet facility will be there for each and every student of the country. It may be remotest place, so that has to be prioritized. And every student must be given an education tab free of cost, because that is very, very essential and important. And if a child is given a gadget and the internet, there is a lot of stuff available in the online. The child can explore, and the teachers must be given proper guidance and proper training how to engage their children online. These are the three important things: proper internet facility to each and every student across the country, and every child must have the tab, and the teachers must be given proper training, and then teachers will be able to do amazingly wonderful jobs. Because I got a very success stories that teachers are able to deliver classes in the mobile phone itself, and children are so excited to hear the teacher's voice. The parents are so excited, and then you can't imagine, they're so happy to hear their teacher, and then having their classes on a mobile, and then they are downloading the videos from the YouTube, and then they are forwarding, and there was a lot of interaction is happening. So when we are able to give certain facilities to the teachers and students, then definitely no one can stop. So these are the immediate priorities. And then there must be a comprehensive plan for complete academic year. What is our objective, and then what are we going to achieve, and what level our children should go for this academic year. So this proper roadmap has to be very clearly drawn by the government. That is the need of the hour.
Okay, thank you, Madhu sir. It's already 6 and we had planned that we'll open for Q&A at 6. But let me also at least summarize some points by Meetaji. Meetaji, it was such a delightful to listen to you. So many ideas coming from you. It's kind of compilation of several ideas that we can think of, which requires almost no cost, not really a fancy technology, something like what you said in Delhi. Some people started experimenting, sending worksheet through the ration packets. So while there is food, also some education material is coming. Though the question happens to be, how do we ensure that is being utilized, which is another next level of question, but we'll also solve. We will address it through some other means. Anyways, the television network is already there, which almost every household has a television. Even if you don't have a fancy computer, laptop, network, software, you know how to use it. At least we can use the television, and a couple of places already have announced. I also had once a meeting with a Microsoft representative in India, and they were also planning something similar. Though they were planning before Corona, when there was no clue that Corona is coming, and it becomes so kind of required, which was not as urgent, becomes very urgent. So what I'm saying is that technology is there. Content, what you said, yes, most of the contents for online is already there. You just take it and televisionize it. So the broadcast starts and it starts happening. The challenge will be of monitoring and assessment. At the same time, you mentioned something so important in this course of discussion. We forget that learning is, in any case, an individual experience. We have always heard that self-learning is the best learning. So how can we figure out a medium that we encourage that this is your time, you are not distracted? How can you focus? How can you focus on your subjects? And taking help from parents, also parents and other people available, or the elder brother or elder sister available in house. How can we engage them? So when you start actually thinking about how are you going to address a solution, not just only being critical, you figure out some way or the other. What you talked about, that remote learning, not just online digital learning. So when you start thinking, you find different ways of addressing. And specifically, when I was thinking about the subject, though our education in a manner, when we say, oh, even the classes resume, or even post corona, the running classes in these alternative means cannot be as normal or as ordinary as in usual manner that we were functioning. But that model also had flaws. There was limitation to that model too, which kind of made it costly, standardized, centralized delivery of function only in classroom. So this crisis, I see there is an opportunity too. And this opportunity could be if we can build up a different way of learning, thinking beyond our usual way of imparting education only in a classroom, then we can kind of revolutionize. Like I was thinking, if we can integrate technology in a manner along with many experiential learning, then you don't really require a four-wall place to come and get the learning. There could be many other ways of doing it, which could be cost effective. In fact, I see decentralization and further democratization of education, which is completely student-led rather than schools, management, and teacher-led. Anyways, I really didn't want to give my perspective as much, taking yours, but I think we should open for Q&A and let's see what people are willing to know.
I just want to add one little thing. I think since
Yes,
you started the revolution, I'm just going to ask one very simple question here. We see our schools running 40-minute sessions with 40 students. This 40 into 40 model was decided by some administrator a long time ago. Is there any reason for us to continue the 40 into 40? Now we'll take another separate webinar on
Right.
actual pedagogies, but I just wanted to, I could not resist raising this question. This
Right.
What sense does it make anymore?
It's very, very important. Very
Another webinar on
sensible question.
Agree. So this is what the way our current education model is also designed, it also has flaws. And in this different scenario, it gives us an idea. This is the time to rethink and deliver and experiment and set the model wherein you are not physically required. And that removes the boundary, the compulsion for the child to, let's say, travel to miles and kilometers to come to school, be focused. Then it is like individual. I can learn when I want, in the manner, in the circumstances I wish, rather than, okay, I mean, okay, this is another topic for all the webinar, a different webinar. So Kanan, let's take questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for a wonderful discussion. Thank you all. So we have many questions coming in. So first will be a question from a participant on Zoom, Dr. Dilip Modi. As per the news and information coming from different sources, the boards and NCRT are planning to cut or slash the syllabus to compensate the loss of time or working days available to schools due to lockdown. How can this be a good idea considering the vertical mobility? Will it not hamper the quality at the next level of classes?
Okay, Madhu sir, would you
Yeah.
like to take this question?
Definitely, that's not a good idea, but we must, cutting down the syllabus is not the solution. The solution should be that what are the better alternatives available so that we can empower the students, and then the quality of learning should not go down. And then we have to proactively, by this time, have brought down certain initiatives that lot of information is available online with us. And then we have to definitely see that the next academic year, we can reduce certain vacations, certain holidays, and then we have to see that students will not be at a loss. So if it is inevitable, then only some part of the portions where it is really not mattering maybe taken away from the syllabus, but cutting out 40% of the syllabus or a major portion of the syllabus is not at all a good idea. Children will be at great loss, the nation will be at great loss.
Okay, good. Meeta ji, do you want to add anything here?
In principle, I have to agree over here, because the syllabus has been designed with a certain purpose in mind, especially for the higher classes. For the lower classes, again, to be honest, as long as there is proportional progress and there is value add per student, whether it is measured in an annual cycle or whether it is measured in a monthly cycle, quarterly, or a semester cycle, really should not matter so much. Because let us remember that assessments and exams are not the end of the learning cycle. Assessments and exams are the middle of the learning cycle, and they give us information about how teachers should teach so that they can teach better. They give us information about how students should learn, and they should learn better. So it's not necessarily, every evaluation is not necessarily a summative evaluation. As if we just increase the cycle of formative evaluations, I think we will at least be in a state of progress and progression.
Okay, great. Kanan, can we go to the next question?
Yes, sir. So the next question is by a Facebook participant, Mr. Sachin. Ma'am, my child is learning disability. What should I do for him to become a good learner?
Okay, Meeta.
And possibly Geeta should take this question. She's studied it far more, so I'll start it off. Firstly, learning as in lexical learning is not necessarily the only kind of learning. So if they're saying that the child has a certain learning disability, it could mean that they're not great in letters, or it could mean that they're not good in maybe arithmetic. But there are other things that a child could really be good in. Each of us has different abilities. And it's our job as educators to identify those abilities and find channels and progression pathways for that student. So yes, a certain foundational level, we should work hard and support them with supportive activities, but also for those students, they, in fact, with online learning may find equally valid channels that are not necessarily the mainstream or what is called the mainstream.
Geeta ji, do you have something to add?
Nothing really much to add, only to support what Mika has just said, that there are certain technologies that actually help, children with learning difficulties to learn better than if they were in a conventional kind of a classroom. For one thing, learning, through technology makes learning at the individual level possible, and it allows you to move at your pace. So, for example, if you have or on an adaptive technology platform, for example, tablet-based maths learning, then it it you are if the class is pitched at the level of, let's say, the average child in the classroom, with the best, even with the best training in the world, the teacher cannot address all the different ability levels in the classroom through through differentiated learning. Maybe a very skilled teacher can cater to maybe three different levels of ability in the classroom. But even that is not fine grained enough. There may be some children who really have learning difficulty. So age wise, they're placed in a particular classroom, but they cannot cope with the average level of learning at which the teacher may be pitching the pace of learning. So I think that adaptive technologies allow a child to learn at their own pace. And so I think that there are some technological benefits to that. I think that children with learning difficulties need more support at home, and it also had the if there are schools that are accepting children with learning difficulties, then it places this duty on those schools that they also train their teachers to cater specifically to the needs of such children, which requires a specialist kind of training.
Great. Kanan, can we go to the next question, please?
Yes, sir. So the next question is for Madhusudan, sir. Sir, even if we assume that the next academic session starts from September with all the restrictions, what is the time period we are looking at? I mean, from September to which month? What is current status of SSC exams when we expect them to be held? This is from Mr. Venkat Rajiv.
Yeah, it's a very good question, Mr. Venkat Rajiv. And then it's very arbitrary that we cannot assume whether the schools are going to open for the students from September or whatever it is. It all depends upon the number of cases have to come to zero in a particular state. And then after getting the number of cases zero, then only the government may come up with a policy. But mentally, we have to prepare ourselves to keep continuing studies to our students. And
I'm
then
not getting audio.
Hello, can you hear?
Sir,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to assess when the schools will be reopening. Only when we report zero cases in a particular state, then the state government will take a decision and a call for reopening of the school with proper compliances. And it will not be a normalized school. And we must be ready we should be ready to offer some online classes and keep our children engaged and then continued studies. That's the one thing. And SSC examinations are abruptly postponed in Telangana state, and then even definitely they will be they conduct the re-exam. That is the postponed examinations. Maybe the date is not properly scheduled, and the date will be announced only when the things become normalized. Otherwise, the examinations cannot be conducted when there is a social distancing code is there. So we have to wait. We have to wait for a suitable time. We shouldn't be hurry, and then students must be kept with proper engagement.
Thank you, sir. The next question is by Mr. Vijay Reddy. How can we keep our staff motivated and keep them assured in this uncertain situation?
Okay, it's not audible for me.
Sir, can you hear me now?
It's lost the internet connection.
Okay.
No
Now
problem,
can you?
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Oh.
we can hear you, sir.
Okay, yeah, I can't hear Madhuji. But anyways, we can move to the next question.
Okay. So the next question is by Mr. Vijay Reddy. How can we keep our staff motivated and keep them assured in this uncertain situation? The solutions discussed here have given me some hope, but how likely these things are going to happen?
Can I just say that this
Yes, please, Geeta ji.
ये वाला जो point है, this point is very related to the kind of discussion that Kulbhushan Sharma ji was having earlier on. that if the private school managers can give credible assurances to their staff that your jobs are secure, you will not be job separated, you will not be laid off, and we will try our utmost to keep your salaries the same, at least the same as they were last year, so that you don't have to worry about the financial situation for your families. If one can say that, that is the very basic that is needed to be said by managers to their staff. And then on top of that, they also need to show a lot of duty of care at this time, a lot of support. And if staff are taking online classes, or even if they're not, um, it is important to keep the staff paid. And this goes back, the ability of managers to keep staff paid depends very much on the kinds of issues that were raised in the first half of this webinar. So that's why it's very, very important that we go back to that.
Great. Someone wants to add anything to this, or we should move to the next question?
Can I ask the next question?
Yeah, let's go to the next question.
Can I just say that, in
Yes,
case teacher salaries are not able to be paid, and what I've heard is that a lot of schools have only paid 50% or 75% salaries in the past month, for the month of March. Now it's almost at the end of April, and teachers are, waiting to get their April salaries. If again it is the case that because of a lack of fee collection, managers are not able to pay the teacher salaries, I think this is a very important question. Their teacher morale will go down tremendously. So it is very important that um, uh, that this issue is addressed by government very soon. That if they have issued uh, government orders saying that that schools cannot really ask parents to pay fee, and we just have to believe parents' self-declaration as to whether they're able to pay the fee or not. I think it will create a lot of problems for teacher morale.
Great, thank you. Thank you,
I
Mitaji.
have something to say on this.
Okay,
Basically,
please.
nowadays, governments are passing orders that schools should not ask fees to students, one hand. Secondly, they say that teachers' salaries must be paid by the schools, which is very contradictory because the source of income is only the fees for any school. And then they say that we should not ask the fees. But here, in most of the budget private schools, the practice is that during the annual examinations only, the school fee payment will happen. And in any budget private school, 100% fee collection will not happen. All the time, we only have 80% of the fee collection happens, and 20% of the fee will be carried forward for the next academic year. So that's a usual practice. So now, during the annual examinations, once the crop is harvested in most of the rural areas, the fee will be paid in the month of April or May or so. So here, most of the budget private schools, 40 to 50% of the fees is due with them. And then teachers also, most of the teachers also are aware that there is so much of due, and then the managements will also have to explain the ground reality. And then no management will say that they will not give the salaries, but once the fees which is due is collected, and then that part will be paid to the teachers, but in the installment ways. So we have to make a dialogue. We have to keep them engaged or understand the ground reality that is there, and that is the only way that we can have a healthy relationship with the teachers.
Great. कुलभूषण जी wants to add something. कुलभूषण जी, आपका वो ऑडियो बंद है, म्यूट है आप.
अब आ रही है आवाज अमित जी?
हाँ, लेकिन शॉर्ट में.
बिल्कुल शॉर्ट में. देखो, हमारे संस्कार और संस्कृति हमेशा मदद करने की रही है, लेकिन जिस तरह के ऑर्डर ये गवर्नमेंट निकाल रही है, शायद ये किसी अंग्रेज गवर्नमेंट ने भी कभी नहीं निकाले थे और दुनिया में किसी ने नहीं निकाले हैं, कि सक्षम अभिभावक अगर ये कुछ पॉजिटिव मैसेज देते, तो जितनी हम डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं कि बच्चों के एजुकेशन जो है ऑनलाइन भी टीचर्स करने की कोशिश कर रही हैं, वो सभी तब टीचर्स आज बहुत परेशान है. उसके आगे भी एक प्रश्न लगा हुआ है कि क्या उसको आगे सैलरी मिलेगी. तो बहुत टेंशन में अगर ये मैसेज जो है पॉजिटिव होता कि सक्षम अभिभावक असक्षम पेरेंट्स की भी मदद करे, तो शायद ये सारे सोल्यूशन इसके निकल आते हैं। और हिंदुस्तान तो हमेशा एक दूसरे की मदद करने के लिए जाना जाता है। ये पता नहीं किस साइकोलॉजी से, किस हिसाब से इन्होंने जो ऑर्डर निकाला है, ये सोच से परे है कि ये किसकी मानसिकता है, कैसी मानसिकता। इस देश की मानसिकता तो ऐसी नहीं थी। तो इससे सारा ही जो सर्कल है वो डगमगा गया है। कितने भी अब डिस्कशन करेंगे, ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन, दूसरी एजुकेशन, इस समय टीचर्स के ऊपर, बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के ऊपर बहुत बड़ा संकट है कि आने वाले 10-15 दिन में क्या होगा। ये एक बहुत बड़ा प्रश्न है। शायद बिल्कुल फुल स्टॉप लग जाएगा। जो ऑनलाइन काम भी चल रहा है, इस पे भी फुल स्टॉप लगने वाला है। अगर टीचर्स को सैलरी नहीं गई तो जो वो करवा भी रही है उस पे भी एक प्रश्न चिन्ह और फुल स्टॉप लगने वाला है। पूरा सिस्टम चरमराने वाला है, जिसपे सोचना चाहिए सभी पैनलिस्ट को, और जो इसमें हिस्सा भी ले रहे हैं उनको भी इस पे सोचना चाहिए, और पॉलिसी मेकर्स को भी सोचना चाहिए। और पॉलिसी जो ये ऑर्डर्स हैं, तुरंत इनको वापस लेके सही ऑर्डर्स जो है वो जारी करने चाहिए।
थैंक यू कुलभूषण जी। एक छोटी सी बात मैं भी ऐड कर देता हूँ while this is getting dragged. I'm a fan of decentralized model of governance. तो कहीं पे भी आता है ना, तो I always look for कि भाई centralized top down approach है या हमारा bottom up approach है. So here I would have, in my theoretical framework, I would have preferred local people solving. So the parents management group and the school sitting together and kind of devising a solution कि क्या problem है, कैसे solve कर सकते हैं, सब मिलके वगैरह वगैरह. I would have looked for more of a decentralized solution coming up rather than one centralized solution being imposed. और वहाँ पे कर्नाटका से एक इससे जुड़ी हुई खबर आई थी। कर्नाटका में भी पहले हुआ था कि सैलरी पे द फी नहीं लेना है वगैरह वगैरह, और लेकिन टीचर्स ने एक कैंपेन शुरू किया और उसके बाद गवर्नमेंट पे थोड़ा प्रेशर बना शायद, और उन्होंने वापस से ऑर्डर इशू किया कि नहीं, टीचर्स को सैलरी जाएंगी और आप फी कलेक्ट करके टीचर्स को पे कर सकते हैं। तो बैंगलोर में कुछ इस संबंध में हुआ भी था। एनीवेज लेट्स मूव,
उसमें भी यही आया जो कैपेबल पेरेंट्स है वो दें।
ठीक है, लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट।
जो डेफिनेशन भी सरकार को जारी करनी चाहिए कि सक्षम की डेफिनेशन, जैसे ईवीएस की डेफिनेशन है, बीपीएल की डेफिनेशन है, तो सक्षम कौन है? ईवीएस के ऊपर वाले तो सक्षम होने ही चाहिए।
हाँ राइट, इसीलिए मैंने कहा कि वो एक टॉप पे बैठ के करना मुश्किल होगा। द स्कूल पेरेंट्स मैनेजमेंट बॉडी कैन वर्क इट आउट। लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन।
Yes, sir. So the next question is by a Facebook participant, Mr. Ajay Kumar. There is a suggestion by him, and he's asking for your opinions. What about asking the government to lock down the previous year's admissions, allow functioning as it was without disrupting?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Can you repeat once again?
Yeah, so what about asking the government to lock down the previous year's admissions to allow functioning as it was without disrupting?
Previous,
Yeah, I got the point.
जो जहाँ पर पढ़ रहा है उसको वहीं पढ़ने दें, उनको शिफ्टिंग नहीं करें कि वो उसी स्कूल में रहे। ये इस समय जो सिस्टम में चेंज ना किया जाए, उसी स्कूल में पढ़ने दें, और न्यू एडमिशन जहाँ जाना चाहता है जाने दें। ये नहीं कि बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के बच्चे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में जाएं, गवर्नमेंट के बजट में जाएं, वो इस समय रोक दिया जाए।
Okay. Okay, Madhu sir, you want to add something quickly?
That's a very good idea, but definitely we cannot impose the freedom of the child or the parent to move. Okay, he has a choice to choose the choice of his school.
Okay, let's move to the next question.
Okay, so the next question is by Mr. Ravi. As and when school reopens, there is still risk of COVID. How does school address these issues with limited resources?
So who would like to answer this one?
That is the billion-dollar question, really. Unfortunately, we don't have a crystal ball. And I really do think that schools can see scientifically the health reasons for the continuation of the lockdown continue to apply. So health, from a health point of view, it remains prudent to stay locked in all our respective homes. But economically and from a learning point of view, shops must open, people must be able to go back to work, and ultimately children should also be able to come back to school. So there are these two things that need to be weighed up. And certain countries have taken the view that let us be, let us not impose this on the population. For example, Sweden has said that we're not going to make any laws about, or rules about the lockdown. We're going to allow everybody to behave responsibly themselves, voluntarily to behave responsibly. So schools have continued, and so on and so forth. Um, I think that till the vaccine is made, and it could be a year from now, but that a successful vaccine is ready, I think it would be prudent to keep social distancing. How that will be possible is very, very difficult to know. I don't know what choices will be made by our government. I personally don't see that it's going to happen till at least July. I've seen a Boston Consulting Group modeling, which shows that the lockdown will be the longest in India. End of July is the most optimistic scenario, but the most pessimistic scenario is mid September, that the lockdown would continue until mid September. So it's very difficult to predict when we shall be able to come back, because if we did come back, short of saying that, okay, we're going to call 1/6 of the children. So every week the child can come to school one day. So if 1/6 of the children come, they can be socially distant from each other. So for example, if it's a class of, 42 children divided by 6, then 7 children can come each day. And and then the other time online education continues. Something like that may have to happen.
I think the whole of the next academic year will be a remote learning or a distance learning process. The whole of the academic year till a proper vaccination is done.
It may happen.
Okay.
And just the vaccine being found is different from the vaccine being administered
Yes.
to
Till
80%
the
of the
vaccination is done to the every child. If every child gets the vaccination, then we can have a normalcy.
So that is a whole long journey, which means online education will certainly continue to be at least 25 to 50% of the learning going forward in the new normal. As Geeta said, that a small proportion of students coming into class is going to be part of the new normal. For schools, since we are talking about budget private schools, there's another little worrisome government order that has gone out to the companies that have been allowed to open up right now. And the order says that the companies will be responsible, not the government that opens up, but the private companies will be responsible if there is any COVID case that happens within the company. Now, if such a geo, and this is something that we should push back even before that happens, if such a geo is issued to schools, I do not know which schools will be able to ensure that. I mean, children, they'll jostle each other. The children will touch each other. There's a water tap. Even if you make them stand in a line to wash their hands for 4 hours a day, or however, every 20 minutes they have to wash their hands. We have a serious operational problem in running the school. So I think this is it's a very, very tricky issue. You come September, I'm not sure we'll be able to solve all of these problems, but this is exactly what our school owners and teachers will have to deal with.
Yeah, and even in the SSC examinations which were postponed, okay, so even to conduct them also, they have to conduct in 4 or 5 phases, okay, taking small portions of the students in in each spell. Okay, like that they have to conduct it with a proper social distance. That is the only possible way. Otherwise, it's very difficult.
Okay, great. Yeah, and that order possibly also said that the CEO of the company will be prosecuted if they find a case.
Yeah, India doesn't have corporate liability. India only has personal liability.
And anyways, let's move on. In fact, now there are only 2 minutes left.
Yes, sir. So we have many questions, but I would request you for one last question because of the time constraint. So the question is by Mr. Ahmed. What can be done to enhance the quality education in public school without allocation of any budget?
In public school, improvement of education without allocating any additional budget.
अमित जी इसका जवाब मैं दे सकता हूँ
बिल्कुल,
क्योंकि नीसा इस पे काम कर रहा है कि कैसे क्वालिटी एजुकेशन, क्वालिटी जो है टीचर्स की बढ़ाई जा सकती है विदाउट किसी एक्सपेंस के। तो नीसा के बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम हैं जो टोटली फ्री हैं, नीसा का अपना क्वालिटी चार्टर है, अपनी क्वालिटी, अपना स्कूल असेसमेंट प्रोग्राम है, स्कूल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम है, और टीचर्स के लिए ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम है जो टोटली फ्री है। अगर स्कूल्स उसको ज्वाइन करते हैं तो बिल्कुल फ्री में अपनी क्वालिटी को इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं। और इस समय बच्चों को ऑनलाइन शिक्षा देने में भी नीसा के प्रोग्राम बहुत ही हेल्पफुल हो सकते हैं, बहुत मिनिमम ऑफ जस्ट फ्री।
आई थॉट कुलभूषण जी आप कहने जा रहे हैं कि गवर्नमेंट जितना भी अपने स्कूलों में पर चाइल्ड एक्सपेंडिचर करता है उसका आधा हमें नीसा स्कूलों को दे दो, हम कम पैसे में और अच्छा पढ़ा देंगे।
1/3 अगर दे दे तो बाकी का काम सारा जो है कोरोना में जो है उस पे लगा दे, लोगों को किसी को भी कोरोना से बचाने में लगा दे, मेडिकल एड पे लगा दे, हॉस्पिटल्स बनाए। 1/3 पे सारे स्कूल्स जो है वो बेटर एजुकेशन दे सकते हैं, 1/3 पे।
Okay, great. It's already 6:30.
I have one say to do during this pandemic.
वही मैं कनन से पूछ रहा था, can I have just one last liner of suggestion from all of the panelists?
Sure, sir.
So one last thing that as a message, key message you want to
one liner I wanted to say. During this pandemic, because most of the schools are in crisis, and then thousands of schools will be shut down in this academic year. They will not be able to exist because they have to transform themselves. And at the same time, children will become out of the school, and then they will be away from the education and studies. So the government must, in the form of DBT, direct benefit transfer, or directly they can transfer the education fund to each and every child, so that they will be able to pay the school fees, so that the schools will be able to function, and then the children will be able to get proper education. So government has to prepare some kind of emergency fund, because in Canada, in US, even the overseas students are also being paid. In Canada, each student is being paid $1,250 per month towards their expenses, education purpose. And even these students are the overseas students. They came from the other countries. And now we are speaking about the students of our own country. So government has to think aloud on this and invest in education rather than any other infrastructure this year, this academic year.
Good, Madhu sir. Okay, 1 minute each from all of you.
Shall I go?
Yes, Mehta ji, please.
So, I mean, in this challenging situation, we had 3 steps to do. One was to adjust, which is very much part of our national character. I think we have proved that we adjusted very well. The other part of our national character that we do really well is Jugaad. I think all the Jugaad solutions that we could have done, we put it into place with great gusto. I think we've done really well. I think now is a question of bringing systematic processes and systematic quality, systematic delivery into the next academic year. We know how to survive, but now it is time for us to be able to become systematic quality deliverers in what we have started off already.
Perfect. Geeta ji?
Yeah, I think, in the spirit of this, that never waste a good crisis. And this is a big crisis. I think it is important that we turn this crisis into an opportunity. It's going to be enormously challenging for everybody. But I would suggest that all private schools just gird up their loins and they invest in training of their teachers for doing online education, not only for the purpose of transacting the curriculum, but because this is going to be a very challenging year for our children, for all children, and to support the children through this, and in the process support their own selves, because their own sense of self-worth and their own passion for living will be strengthened if they find themselves supporting the children in their learning and in their daily routine and their structured day. So I think that school managers' job in this time, the most important job I feel, is to help the teachers to get the resources from wherever they are needed. I mean, online training of teachers, so that the teachers are equipped to do. Almost all children, as parents, have a smartphone. Almost every family, even the poorest of families, have a smartphone in their family. And I think that teachers can deliver education online through the medium of that smartphone. The teachers, where they are not trained, it is important to train them. Find a nearby private unaided school whose teachers are already trained. take the help of that school to train your own teachers and to be able to do this. There are ebooks that are available, in the sense that most of the publishers have made those chapters of the book that the curriculum demanded to be completed by, let's say, the 10th or the 15th of May. Those publishers have made those ebooks available for free to the schools, and that the schools are giving, sending those to everybody, to all the children. So learning can continue, and everybody's sense of purpose should continue. Otherwise, it will be disastrous because of loss of morale of both the children, the parents, and the teachers.
Madhuji, I will give you only 30 seconds and 1 minute to Kulbhushan ji.
Yeah. So now there is a change. There is a shift in education. So every school, every teacher, every school management have to adapt the change. And then we must see that our children are continued in education without any gaps. This is the biggest challenge in the education sector, particularly education is in crisis in India. And then we all have to work like soldiers and then see that we have to save our children, we have to save the education, we have to save our institutions. Together, let us all private schools collaborate, and then we have TRUSMA, Telangana Recognized Schools Management Association in Telangana, and then all India level NISA. We are working for bringing a solution for giving online education to all the students free of cost to the budget private schools. Thanks.
Great. Kulbhushan ji, last 1 minute.
हाँ, मेरा ये है कि सभी स्कूल्स को इस समय यूनाइट होना चाहिए। यूनाइट होकर भी, जैसे डीसा एक बहुत बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म है, उसके थ्रू वो बहुत सारी चीजों को जो है फ्री पा सकते हैं, जिससे बच्चों की ऑनलाइन स्टडीज भी चलती रहे। हमने माइक्रोसॉफ्ट से भी बात की है कि बिल्कुल नेग्लिजिबल प्राइस पे टीम ऐप उनकी प्रोवाइड हो, जिससे ऑनलाइन क्लासेस चले। और एक और कंसेप्ट पे नीचा काम करने की सोच रहा है, जैसे बुक मोबाइल बैंक बनाने की बात सोच रहे हैं कि लोग अपने पुराने मोबाइल्स को डोनेट करें। एक नीसा से ये मुहिम चलाया जाएगा, डोनेट यूर ओल्ड मोबाइल्स, ताकि बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के बच्चों को वो मोबाइल प्रोवाइड कराया जाए। ऐसे माइक्रोसॉफ्ट और बहुत सारी कंपनी से बात चल रही है कि बहुत ही नेग्लिजिबल प्राइस से माइक्रोसॉफ्ट से चल रहा है कि 3000 पर मंथ पे वो अपना टीम है बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स को 3000 पर मंथ पे प्रोवाइड करे। बहुत सारे और प्रोग्राम्स सेंट्रल स्केयर फाउंडेशन से मिलके गणित, मैथ, इंग्लिश को पढ़ाने के फ्री प्रोग्राम्स और टीचर ट्रेनिंग के, जिससे बजट प्राइवेट स्कूलों के बच्चे प्रभावित ना। और मैं सरकार से जरूर इस पे गुजारिश करूंगा, अगर सरकार का रोल नेगेटिव रहा तो सारा सिस्टम कोई कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा। 15-20 दिन या महीने के बाद सारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम कोलैप्स हो जाएगा। तो सरकार को पॉजिटिव रवैया अपनाना पड़ेगा, पॉजिटिव मैसेजेस, पॉजिटिव ऑर्डर्स देने पड़ेंगे, ताकि देश के गरीब बच्चों की शिक्षा सुरक्षित रह सके।
Great. Thank you very much, Kulbhushan ji. Thank you to all the panelists, Meeta ji, Geeta ji, Madhu ji, Kulbhushan ji. And the key learning I think I am taking, and Meeta certainly it has opened the key that we can think of many more webinars on the same similar topic going forward. But one key learning for me happens to be never waste a crisis. And this is the time to rethink the delivery of the education. May not be the continuing to or being fascinated with the old model of delivery and trying to replicate the same online. Thank you very, very much. We have exceeded the time. So
thank you, Amit. Thank you, Brainfeed Magazine.
Thank you. Back to you, Kanan.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kanan.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. I thank all the viewers for participating. And we would also like to tell that please join us tomorrow for another episode of Brainfeed Ed Talks. And the topic will be wish list from educators to lawmakers. So I request you all to please join. And on behalf of the entire Brainfeed team, I thank you all the esteemed educationists today for conducting this wonderful discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kanan. And I think it is
Thank
being
you,
recorded
Brainfeed
and will
team.
be posted online also sometime later, right?
Yes, sir. On Facebook it is there, and on YouTube also it will be posted.
Great.
Thank you,
very much.
Brainfeed, for organizing such a wonderful webinar. And then it's a 23rd episode, and then it is being continued. You are doing a commendable contribution to the nation in the form of webinars and online discussions.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for all your support. Thank you.
Bye.